Hello everyone, I'm Terry Duke, and welcome to my channel. So, it's been a minute since my magnum opus of Warband mod videos, and if you're one of those viewers that is still asking me for more Warband mod videos even after having made like 40 of them, well, I'm happy to announce today that not only will more videos be coming in the future, but now you can also have me as a companion in your Warband. That's right, recently I learned that a mod I enjoy quite a lot added me, Terry Duke, as a recruitable companion, so from now on, you will find me in Warzone-Acron. If you haven't seen my video on it from last year, consider this one the sequel. Warzone-Acron is a mod that is barely a year old and is set in a post-apocalyptic wasteland similar in theme to the Fallout games. It was already a pretty solid gun mod when it came out, but it's still in active development and is only getting better every day. So in today's fairly short video, Warzone-Acron, me, and a peek at how cool this mod is. So as I said in my first video covering Warzone-Acron, this might be the best gun mod for Warband there is, simply because it managed to get around the musket mechanic of previous mods, which had you hold the firing button until you had a good aim, and release the fire. Works well with muskets, not so much with automatic weapons, as demonstrated in mods like Red Wars or Snow in the East. Warzone-Acron is still the only mod to my knowledge to fully solve this issue by enabling a firing position that keeps the gun steady while you fire at will. It also allowed proper zooming through scopes, which unironically makes it possible to shoot enemies from across the map, as long as you got a good eye. On this, the mod was already solid, but in the past year, a lot of improvements were made. The first of which is the battles and the NPCs. Warzone-Acron had borrowed a mechanic from the Reckoning mod that allows NPCs to take cover behind objects while firing at each other. But in a much bigger mod like Warzone-Acron, that mechanic was always fundamentally limited to the amount of cover being offered, with the bulk of troops usually just staying in the back, waiting for allied troops to get shot at the front to then take their place. Not so much the case anymore. Maps are now much bigger, with many layers of cover being offered, and the mechanic has been significantly improved, as now NPCs will spread across the battlefield, try and outflank each other, and move forward to new positions. In terms of gun mods, I have never seen something so simultaneously controlled, chaotic, and realistic. From the first engagements with just a few NPCs on either side, to much larger parties having full-on battles, the mechanic upscales flawlessly, and I've had so much fun with it so far. But what's cool about it is that you can also control it now. You have the option to start battles in a standard line or in skirmish, and regardless of which option you choose, you can just order your troops to take cover at any point in the battle, and you can even select the radius over which to spread from 50 meters to 100 to 200. You can even order them to take cover near you. I can't even begin to imagine how the modders pulled this off, but this, along with the gun mechanics, really makes this a solid experience. One of my main complaints a year ago was the lack of enemy groups on the world map, as well as their lack of variety, but thanks to the latest patch, we now have a lot more variety. Between the standard looters and deserters, we now also have raiders, which range widely in tiers from brawlers to assassins to tech thieves, raiders with plasma weapons. We also have the infected, which are like slightly OP settlers that look like zombies but still have their conscience and they use guns. And then we have the full-on ghouls, which are super fast, very dangerous up close, and pretty damn cool overall. I've also noticed that the size of the groups increase gradually as you level up, as they should, so that's also pretty cool. The world map is a lot more active now. Another neat, although somewhat easy to ignore feature of the mod is the camping system. In the mod, there's a lot of emphasis on having your own camp and managing your own food supply. Food items are relatively small and very expensive in towns, so instead Warzone-Acron puts an emphasis on scavenging for resources and keeping the morale of your warband high by not traveling at night, which is something that all NPC lords do as well. And there are lots of items to help you out. Like, if you buy empty bottles and fishing equipment, when you set up camp near water on the world map, you can refill your bottles and grab some fish. There's also passive items like getting a tent for your camp as well as a generator to improve morale while you rest up. And of course you can send your men to scavenge, at which point you could find food, stuff to trade, and sometimes really cool gear. I kind of ignored it last year, but with the updates it's become a more present feature that also feels a lot more intuitive than before, so there's that. The scenery in Warzone-Acron was already so immersive as it was, but sieges were kind of broken, as they always tend to be when you have guns, but I'm happy to announce here that the cover mechanic for battles has also been added to the sieges. In my recent campaign, I went against the Legion and I got to see immediately how smart the NPCs tend to deploy. Here, while I had my main firing line by the bridge, several of my troops would take cover behind a ditch right by the fences to fire at enemies. When we made it past the first gate, some troops would literally go up the guard towers to fire at the enemies in the second line of defense. I still like the sieges before, but this is on a whole other level of epic, and I couldn't be happier with them. And then, well, there's me. They added a whole bunch of companions, but one of them is indeed called Terry Duke. Although if you talk to him as of making this video, he's basically just Bunduck from native Warband with a few tweaks to the text. Not that I mind, Bunduck is one of the cool ones in the original companions. He hates the upper class, he wants equality for the lower class, and he calls BS on Rolf being a noble. Cool guy. But it would be funny if I got my own little backstory, you know, something along the lines of being permanently stuck in Acron despite the wish to leave, but feeling compelled to by the people around me. It'd be a pretty niche joke, but those who would get it would definitely appreciate it. But hey, in the end, if I made so much Warband content that now I'm in Warband, that's good enough for me. Part of the legacy now. In terms of the mod itself, that's pretty much it. Lots of changes, lots of improvements. The only drawback, the only sad thing, is that the mod had a lot of issues with copyright music, so as it stands, the mod has no music whatsoever. But I was talking to the modders, and they do recommend, if you want a better immersion, that you play the Fallout 4 Diamond City Radio playlist on YouTube while you play Warzone-Acron, and it should fit pretty good. I'll leave the link to the mod in the description, as well as a link to the Discord server, as they have the latest patch there, and a link to the Fallout 4 music as well. And that's about it for today, so thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you next time.